editing. So, good evening. I'm McKenna. I'm the owner of Murder by the Book in Houston. I'm joined here tonight by my mom, Brenda, her little dog, Sir Benedict, John, and Sally, and we are going to be going through some holiday gift ideas and some of our favorite books of 2020. There's a live chat that we would love to hear feedback, obviously not about the technical issues, we know those happened, but feedback about books or things that you're recommending and loving. We also have all the books that we're going to be talking about on a special web page that we have them all listed on. So if you're interested in ordering anything, they're available there. I'm going to go ahead and start. And actually, I'm going to start with a lot of gift ideas, get those out of the way, and then we'll move on to our best books of the year. So here goes nothing. So for the gift, the book lover in your family, this is not a book, but these are beautiful ceramic bookends. They feature Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, Frankenstein, Little Women. Anyway, we highly recommend them. They're part of the Bibliophile art series by Jane Mount. And as everyone knows, if you're a book lover, you need bookends. So we have a couple of these still in stock, and they're absolutely beautiful. Is everything okay, Sally?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Next up, again, some of you know that we stock occasionally a cookbook here or there that is kind of a special one or one that we've tested out the recipes and love. I'm a big fan of Claire Saffitz, and she has a brand new cookbook, Dessert Person. Many of you know her from the Bon Appetit Test Kitchen. She's done a lot of fantastic videos. She recreates famous recipes in her own way. So anyway, this Dessert Person is absolutely wonderful. It's a brand new cookbook, and it'll be great for anyone who likes baking or making desserts. Sorry, apparently we have Benedict joining the stacks here. You can't see him, but he's decided to lay down right next to the stacks of books. Excuse the distraction, but that's what happens when you go live. Also, I think that everyone who's been following what the store's been doing for the past few months knows that we have been carrying many puzzles, but I wanted to spotlight two in particular. We have this Sherlock Holmes puzzle, which features the Penguin panoramic Sherlock Holmes cover image, and is really very cool. It's a 1,000-piece puzzle, and it's got that Sherlock Holmes artwork. And then we also have this one that's a completely different vibe, but also perfect for Sherlock Holmes fans, The World of Sherlock Holmes. And it has hidden characters throughout the puzzle. So it's like a Sherlock Holmes meets Where's Waldo puzzle. Both of these are 1,000 pieces. We have about 100 varieties of puzzles in stock, everything from 50 pieces for little ones to 1,000 piece for not so little ones. And floral, non-mystery, New Yorker covers, all sorts of things like that. They're in stock and available. They're all on a little tab on the website under puzzles, and they make a great gift for those of us who are staying home. Thank you. So next up, this is a special little treat of a book called Before the Coffee Gets Cold. It just came out, not a mystery at all, perfect stocking stuffer. It's about a Tokyo coffee shop where the rumor is that you can also enter the coffee shop and go back in time. And it's a short little gift book about 4 strangers who go to this coffee shop and they go back in time. And it's about the things that they would do differently if they had that opportunity. And it's about relationships, and it's just a touching, wonderful book. It was a huge international bestseller. It's sold over 1 million copies worldwide and is already going to be made into a movie. It was just published here in translation, and it's just delightful. So Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi, and apologies for butchering that name. Okay, back to a mystery here. So Peter Lovesey is one of our very favorite British crime authors. He is perhaps my favorite living British crime writer for those books where you have a really intricate plot and a lot of wit. And Soho Crime has just published this 50th anniversary edition of Wobbled to Death, which is his first Inspector Cribb book. It is really a very nice little hardcover. It is signed. And we're also doing a toast to Peter Lovesey virtually on December 4th. We'll be joined by authors such as Jeffrey Deaver, Louise Penny, Peter Robinson, Cara Black. I know I'm forgetting others, but people will be on there to, and of course, Peter Lovesey, to wish him well. And the book that goes along with that event is Wobbled to Death. Okay, I know I'm talking a lot, but I'm getting through these gift ideas and then we'll get to best of the year and you'll get to hear from other people. Another wonderful best of the year, not best of the year, gift stocking stuffer is this book by Michiko Kakutani, Ex Libris, 100 plus books to read and reread. And she is a very, very famous book reviewer. And she has selected some of her favorites in this. The essays are wonderful. It's actually got full color illustrations throughout. It's a really very beautiful book and a perfect book to gift to book lovers. So Ex Libris. Another interesting thing about this year is how many people are reading Agatha Christie. Everyone wants an escape. Everyone wants a bow around the world, a resolution, and something that's comforting, or at least a lot of people do based on the number of Christie books that we've sold. So this book just came out. It's a short story collection, all set in winter, and it features a Christmas short story that's never been published in the US before. So it's just a trade paperback, Midwinter Murder, but if you have a Christie fan in your life or someone who's just into reading something that has a happy ending, or at least a all is right with the world feel at the end, these short story collections are great. Another book by Soho that I think is perfect for anyone on your list, not just mystery lovers, is This Time Next Year We'll Be Laughing by Jacqueline Winspear. These are signed hardcovers. We just did an event with her, again, virtually. But this is actually, you'll know her as the author of the Maisie Dobbs series, but this is actually not light and particularly cozy. It's a memoir and it's about the struggles that her family had growing up. But I think what is so remarkable about the book is you can really see where Maisie Dobbs and the world of those books came from. And there's warmth and heart and everything that you like about the Maisie Dobbs books in here as well. And I highly, highly recommend this memoir. It's really a great gift for just about anyone. So we do have signed copies of this also. I'm almost to my best of the year list. Just a quick note, people wouldn't expect to find the new Barack Obama book here, but because it is such an in-demand title this fall and for gift giving, we do have copies in stock. We are going to be, I'm sure, one of the few stores that winds up having it closer to the holidays as reprints and reorders become more and more challenging this particular season. So we do still have first printings of A Promised Land. And then lastly, in gift giving, a puzzle book for all ages. This really very cute hardcover, Murder Most Puzzling, has 20 cases in here that you can solve along. They're fully illustrated, and it's great for people who kind of want an interactive read. It would be a great family project if you have younger ones in the house to work with. So Murder Most Puzzling, and I think that completes my portion of the gift ideas. I know it's a lot, but we have some pretty cool things in stock. Everyone else is going to talk about a couple gift ideas too, but yeah, I drew the short straw and got to go through all of those. I hope you all found something that strikes a fancy. Okay, so for my books of the year, they're not necessarily like chronological order here, or not chronological, ranked order, but just some of the ones that maybe I haven't talked as much about. For someone who is a John Grisham fan, but who only thinks legal thrillers, I just wanted to do a shout out. I've gotten to to talk a couple times with John Grisham this year, which has been really fantastic. But I read Camino Island and Camino Winds, which is his new hardcover, not knowing what to expect because they're not legal thrillers. They are caper novels about a book collector in Florida who is trying to get to the heart of a book heist in this one, Camino Island. So if you want a really fun, well-written, well-drawn characters, paperback stocking stuffer for a book fan, for a bibliophile, Camino Island was so fun. Because I'm mentioning Grisham, I will mention that we also have signed copies of A Time for Mercy, which is the third book in the Jake Brigance series, the follow-up to Time to Kill and Sycamore Row. This book is really very, very good. It is a nuanced description of what is ethically right, what is ethically wrong, and how those dilemmas are seen in the eyes of the law. So very much like A Time to Kill, this one, again, I highly recommend, and we do still have some signed copies left. Okay, for something completely different. Some of you may have already heard me talk about this. The Jane Austen Society by Natalie Jenner is set right after World War II in England, and it's about a group of strangers who come together to save the home of Jane Austen in Chatham, England. We have signed book plates for this, but this is the kind of book that when you finish it, it feels like your faith in humanity is restored. So for those of you who are looking for escape reads or feel-good Hallmark movies, this isn't a Hallmark movie, but it's a historical story where you root for the people and you root for a happy ending, and it's just a great book. So not a mystery, but I absolutely loved this. Ugh, I'm hoping this pile doesn't fall over. So this is one of my more recent reads, and it's going to make my top 10 list. I've always been a Rebus fan, the series by Ian Rankin, but this is Rebus, and if you haven't read him before, a perfect jumping in point, because Rebus is retired. Rebus is feeling the pains of age. He's moved out of his flat to a smaller place, downsized, cleaning out his records, etc. And again, not through the authority of the police, but as a favor to his daughter, he decides to go to the Scottish Highlands to investigate her boyfriend who's gone missing. Meanwhile, there's a more traditional police case happening with Siobhan and the rest of the Edinburgh police. I thought this was just really fantastic. A lot of our customers have also been raving about it and saying it's one of Ian's best in years. So it's a song for the dark times. If you have a family member who just loves British crime fiction, a little bit dark edge to it, there's no prior reading requirement. Just dive in with this. It's a great book. Almost done. All right, Peter Swanson's 8 Perfect Murders. Y'all heard me talk about this earlier in the year in March. When it came out, we did an event with Peter. This has been a big bestseller for us. The main character is a bookseller in Boston who has written a crime column, a blog entry about a series of books that have perfect murders. And when crimes start happening that recreate those murders or seem inspired by them, the FBI contact him because he is the only person who in a Google search they could find a connection to all these books. So 8 Perfect Murders, very, very well done. It is full of crime references. And as a bookseller, I can just tell you that the opening section of this book describing a day in the life of a mystery bookseller is worth the price of admission alone. So 8 Perfect Murders, still going to be one of my best books of the year, even though I feel like I've been talking about it forever. And the last one I'm talking about, again, in best books, perfect gift ideas, is Lion's Den by Catherine St. John. This, all I have to say is Jackie Collins meets Alfred Hitchcock. There's a Mediterranean expensive yacht vacation where a young woman has gone on board this yacht to be with her friends and her friend's rich boyfriend, and things are perhaps not as they seem. Perfect escape, bubbly, fun. I thought it was great. John read it. John loved it too. I should mention 8 Perfect Murders. I think everyone here read and loved that book too. So lots of staff endorsements. We have signed book plates for Lion's Den. We also have signed book plates for the Natalie Jenner book, The Jane Austen Society. So I'm going to sit here and be quiet while my mom talks now. So I hope you enjoy my recommendations, and we have lots more coming up. All right, Brenda, your turn. Let me have Benedict here.
I think she's going to take time to take a breath now.
Well, I had a lot to get through.
I know you did. All right, so I'm going to do 4 books, 3 of which I have here. 1 we have sold through. We have more coming in. So I may as well start with this. It's titled Snow by John Banfield. And it's the first in a new series for him featuring a policeman by the name of St. John Strafford. And he has been called to the scene of a crime where a Catholic priest has been killed, and it's in an estate manor house in Ireland. And Strafford is Protestant, and in 1957, Ireland, the country was mostly Catholic. And so as he's trying to investigate the murder of this priest, he runs across a lot of people that really don't want to help him out a lot. There's some comic relief in this book, as his name is in fact Strafford, and everyone calls him Stafford. And instead of him just allowing that to happen, he's quite adept at telling everyone his name is actually Strafford. It's very good. You might know John Banfield also as Benjamin Black. He writes as Benjamin Black, but this is the beginning of a new series, and I think it's got a lot of promise. So pick up a copy. We'll have more in this next week. It's really a good read. The second book I'm going to talk about is kind of an unexpected little gem. It's called The Mystery of Henri Pic by David Fourniquenas. And it's, excuse me, Fourniquenas.
All right.
And this story takes place in Brittany, and it is about a library in a little town of Crozon where the former founder of the library decided that he would have a place in the library for people who had written books or manuscripts but had never been published. So they were all welcome to bring their unpublished manuscripts, and he had a place in the library for them. A young editor by the name of Delphine and her fiance have come to Crozon to visit her parents and learn of this little section of the library. And they go there to look through some of the manuscripts to see if there is a gem among the rubbish. And of course there is. And she publishes the book to high acclaim. And of course, the person that's attributed to having written the manuscript is Henri Pic. And Henri and his wife own a little pizza cafe. He has died, and she and her daughter are running the cafe, but it is completely out of character that he would have been able to have written a novel. So the story is the follow-up to who actually wrote the novel. Did someone else, etc. Anyway, it's just really charming, and I think everyone will really like this. The next book is by Richard Osman. Many of you may know him as a British comedian, and when McKenna and I used to travel, we would watch him on British TV all the time. So he has written this wonderful book called The Thursday Murder Club. It is about a group of older people. In particular, these these four that we're going to discuss are in their late 70s, nearing 80. They live in a resort village in England, and the village is full of all kinds of older folks. And four of them have decided to meet in the jigsaw puzzle room every Thursday and discuss old cold cases to see if they think they can come up with a resolution to the crimes. A developer in the area is murdered in front of them. And of course, that puts them on the path to be able to solve his murder. It doesn't really make any difference what the police have to say or anybody else. They're old enough to do what they want, and they're old enough to feel like they don't have to listen to anyone. So it's absolutely charming. It's so full of British wit. It's just, you'll just love it if you enjoy Peter Lovesey and his British wit. You can't help but love this. So it's called The Thursday Murder Club. Highly, highly recommend. The last book I'm going to talk about is The Eighth Detective by Alex Pavesi. And this book is about a man an author who 30 years prior had written a book. He's a mathematician, and he had written a book 30 years earlier about what it takes to be a perfect murder mystery, such as you have to have a victim, you have to have a suspect, you have to have some sort of detective. The book has laid dormant for some time, and a young editor has picked it up, and she wants to republish the book. The author now lives on a remote Mediterranean island, but agrees to see her. So she goes to the island, and he insists that she read each chapter to him, and then they will discuss it, and hoping that she will understand why and how he came to write the book. But as the book goes, she finds mistakes in these chapters as she's reading, but decides that they may not be mistakes so much as they are clues to something. She just doesn't know what. So it's really quite unusual in that each chapter delves into a section of a mystery and what it takes to be a mystery. Highly recommend. It's we have plenty of copies, so if you like something like that, just come get a copy of it. The last thing I'm going to say is during the holiday season, we offer a free gift wrap. So if you want to pick up something, today we had several mail orders that needed to be gift wrapped and sent to recipients. So if you want to give us a call, order, and we can gift wrap, or if you come in, we'll be happy to gift wrap for you. So I think that that's going to do me.
Yeah, so give us a second. We're going to switch out people. John and Sally are coming up next.
Okay, so Sally's going to go next. But before she does, I also wanted to mention, so a lot of the stuff that McKenna has talked about and Brenda has talked about, the Richard Osman, Ian Rankin, the Catherine St. John, Natalie Jenner. If any of those books sound good to you, you can also check out the store's YouTube channel where you're watching this. We have done author interviews with all of them, so you'll be able to catch all of those as well. And I'm going to bump this just a smidge that way. So, okay, so Sally is going to go with her list now.
Hi, everybody. I'll start with my books. I think all of these books, these four for sure, books are going to be in my top 10 list, which was, it's going to be quite a list this year, and I'm really excited about it. My first book, this was out a few months ago, and we did an event with her, the new Ruth Ware, which Ruth Ware is by and large one of our favorite writers. She's well, she's not really that much of a new writer anymore. We've had several books by her, including her breakout of The Woman in Cabin 10. This one is One by One. It is about a group of people who go to a ski resort. They are employees of a startup company, and they have been offered a chance to buy out the company for millions of dollars. There's one person there who does not particularly want that to happen. While they're there at the ski resort, there is a blizzard, and they are all snowed in, and then one by one, they start disappearing. It's very much a nod to Agatha Christie's, and then there were none. I really enjoyed this book. It is atmospheric, tied, a little bit claustrophobic, because they're all snowed in this one spot, and nobody can trust really anybody else. We also still have book plates for this. So if you need a gift and a signature, this is a great book. This was one of my favorites in one of the stores, One by One by Ruth Ware, with very much a nod to Agatha Christie. This book, And Now She's Gone, by Rachel Housel Hall. Some of you people will remember her Detective Lou Norton series, which unfortunately is no longer available for us to get, which makes us sad. But this is a standalone, which now she's writing quite a bit of, and it's about, it boils down to, it's really about two women, both with lots of secrets. Grayson Sykes is getting her first case as a private investigator. She has secrets, and she now has been able to get herself into a place of relative safety. The first case she's given is this woman, Isabel Lincoln. And what we've discovered is that she may not want to be found, and we don't know how really missing she is. As Grayson starts her work as her first case as a PI, she makes some kind of boneheaded mistakes, and then goes forward and discovers lots of secrets about Isabel, who is apparently a stealer of identities. So I really enjoyed this. It's really pretty tightly written, lots of twists and turns, and I think you'll enjoy it a lot. This book will also probably be on a lot of lists at the end of the year. It is an exciting read, and Rachel is an exciting author to really keep an eye on. I think she's really breaking out and going places. So this is also one of my favorites, will be in my top 10, And Now She's Gone, Rachel Housel Hall. Be sure and pick it up. It's great.
And we've got signed book plates for it too. We've done a couple of virtual events with her.
Yeah.
She interviewed Walter Mosley, so definitely check those out, because those were really great conversations too.
Now, back in the summer, this came out, The Last Flight. So I know some of y'all probably have this, but if you're looking for a great gift, this is a good gift. This is the first book that when it ended, the first book in a long time, that when it ended, I wanted to go back and start over immediately, because it blew me away at the end. I just didn't know what to think. And it's about really these two women who meet at an airport, and they both want to start new lives. One, Claire, who's married to a politician who is an abuser, and she's trying to escape that. And this woman, Eva, who's just trying to start over with a new life. They meet just by chance in an airport. Claire's about to get on a plane to go to Puerto Rico, and Eva is just starting her life over. They decide to switch plane tickets and try to escape from their demons. The story of Claire and Eva, especially Eva, is just really an amazing thing to read. Very tightly written. I loved it. The Last Flight is there is a plane crash, and then you just don't know what has happened and if anybody actually was on the plane. I loved it. It is, again, one of my favorite books of the year. I think you will too.
And
plates, right?
I think we still have book plates. Cindy read it, absolutely loved it. Christina also read it and absolutely loved it, and so did Rebecca too. So that's 4 of us up here.
In this book, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, which I hope that you can see it well because it's kind of dark, is something that's a little out of my wheelhouse as books that I normally read. But I picked it up when I was on vacation a couple of weeks ago, or a month ago, and it just was an amazing read. It's so different than anything that I read. It's about this woman, Addie LaRue. In 1714, she decides that she does not want to be married. She's about to be married, and she goes and asks the gods to give her complete freedom. A god actually answers her wishes, and it's not really the god that she was expecting. It was the god of the dark. So this demon comes, gives her complete freedom, which in reality means no one remembers her, and she cannot leave a mark. She cannot leave anything of her. You meet her, and then in 10 minutes she walks back in the room, and you don't know who she is. She spends the next 300 years living like that, with no one ever remembering her name. Her life from 1714 to present day time of 2014 is just riveting. It goes back and forth, and you get her life about every 50 years or so until she gets to a current time. So 300 years later, after 1714, she meets a young man in a bookstore in New York City who remembers her. She goes in, she steals a book. She goes back in the next day to return it. And he goes, "Oh, I remember you." And no one has said that to her in 300 years. From there, it's just a riveting of what that means to her. She does not understand what that means and what has happened and how he could remember her. He ends up having secrets that play into why he can remember her. And it just is a wonderful, a bit romantic, which is totally out of anything that I read, and a wonderful, wonderful fantasy book of this demon keeps appearing in Hattie's life to keep track of her and to keep track of Henry. A wonderful read. This book will also be on a lot of lists. I think that you're going to see it everywhere. So it's a little bit on the fantasy realm. So if you know anybody that likes that, I highly recommend this as well. An excellent, excellent book. Now, for a few gift ideas, this is a book called Stuff You Should Know. This is a podcast started by Josh Clark and Chuck Bryant. It started in 2008 and comes out 3 times a week, the podcast. So it's really stuff you should know. It's a complete condominium of mostly interesting things. And it has a little bit of everything in it. Talks about the day that this guy walked into a radio station and announced that Paul was dead. Paul McCartney, if you don't know who that is. and just any number of things about stuff that you should know. It'll be a delight for maybe the nerd in your life. If you need a good stocking stuffer, I recommend this one as well. We have signed copies, so be sure to check that out. And check out the podcast. It's pretty neat. Also, for stocking stuffers, we have socks. Who doesn't need a pair of socks? So this one is called Readers Unite, a great pair of socks. I love them. They're blue and black and comfortable. Badass Reader, for all your badass reader friends, you'll want to love to get that. And this one was the Independent Bookstore Day socks that came out. Well, they were originally supposed to come out, I think, in the spring.
In April and then August. Yeah.
Now it's December. It's called Open a Book, and it has an Open Your Mind. And I will tell you that, and I think this is why I'm doing socks as gifts, because I say anytime I wear this pair of socks, how comfortable they are. So I love them. I love all of them. But these make for a great stocking stuffer. So think about these. Think about these other two, the books, the stuff you should know, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, which may end up being my favorite book of the year. I have several contenders right here in this stack for that. So that's my picks. And
all
now
right,
to go to John.
My turn. So I've got a couple picks for gift ideas. So my first is called How Done It. To a good, you can kind of see it's kind of a cool swirly thing. So it's a fingerprint. Sally didn't realize that until she saw it in the newsletter and saw the graphic of it. So it is 90 crime writers from the world's oldest and most famous crime writing network, which is the Detection Club. So for their 90th birthday, they got 90 crime writers to come together, and each one of them has written a little essay about the craft of writing crime novels, writing crime stories. Martin Edwards, who you might know from his curating the British Crime Classics series, helped put this together. So it's got stuff from Lynn Dayton, Ian Rankin, Val McDermott, Peter James, Ann Cleves, Peter Robinson, Sophie Hannah, Alexander McCall Smith, John Le Carre. Interwoven with their essays are rare archival extracts by past Detection Club alumni, Dorothy Sayers, Agatha Christie, Desmond Bagley, P.D. James. So anybody in your life that's just a big crime fiction fan, this is just a perfect gift for them. Next up is Dreyer's English by Benjamin Dreyer. It is an utterly correct guide to clarity and style. So Benjamin is actually the chief copy editor for Penguin Random House. He's the one that goes, no, this is where you put the comma, this is where the colon goes. So he really knows his stuff. He's so funny. If you don't follow him on Twitter, he's hilarious. I actually got to meet him a couple of years ago when we were in the Penguin Random House office. I got to stop by and say hi. So this has just come out in paperback. Perfect for any of, the kind of grammar nerds in your life, or if you just need a book to kind of help you figure out where commas go and all that, with some really witty insights into it. It's also available as a page-a-day calendar. So if you don't want just the book, but you want a little bit of a grammar tip every day, we've got this. We have a handful of other calendars that are available too. Also wanted to mention for the young readers in your lives, I know that we are not a cat bookstore. We are very much a dog bookstore, but several of us are cat people. So we couldn't pass up the chance to share the Bookstore Cat. It's an adorable little picture book. It'll teach your kid alphabet. So, the Bookstore Cat is an adorable, bossy, cuddly cat. So each page has little illustrations with the alphabet. So perfect for kids that are maybe just starting to read, maybe just old enough to sit still to have a story told to them. That is the Bookstore Cat. We've got a nice big stack of them on the counter. I saw our distributor is running low on them, so I would recommend, as McKenna was mentioning with the Obama book, they're predicting some supply issues as we get a little bit further into the holiday season. So if you see anything here that you want, we definitely recommend picking it up sooner rather than later to avoid any kind of restock issues. So definitely grab Bookstore Cat. Also for young readers, I just inhaled this next book last Sunday on my day off. It is by Fleur Bradley. It's called Midnight at the Barclay Hotel. It's middle grade, so I would say kind of 8 and up. I loved it. What's really cute about it is, so 4 people all get this letter saying, congratulations, you've won a weekend stay at the Barclay Hotel. Come get your prize. And we just lost our ring light. So they all show up at this hotel. They get there and a butler greets them and says, hi, you guys have all been invited here because one of you has murdered the guy who used to own the hotel. That's 4 of them. One of them is a detective. So I think the external battery just died, but lighting's good still. So the butler says, 4 of you are suspects in the murder of my boss. One of you is a detective. The police are going to show up in a couple of days at the end of the weekend. It's up to you guys to solve the crime. So a little bit of clue there. 2 kids tag along. One is a young boy who wants to come stay at the Barclay Hotel because he's heard it's the most haunted hotel in Colorado. The other young girl is the daughter or the granddaughter of the detective. It's really perfect if you have any of those young readers that just might be interested in mysteries and you just really want to introduce the genre to them. As they're working, the little girl who's the granddaughter of the detective explains to the other children, hey, if we're going to solve a mystery, we need to figure out who has a motive. This is what a motive is. Here are the other things that you need to know about solving crimes. And then the grandfather will come by and say, hey, you have this other clue. Do you think it's a red herring? And then explains what a red herring is. So there's some really good definitions of kind of all of the mechanics of mystery. It's a really charming read. I absolutely loved it. So if you have any of those kids that you want to kind of teach them the ways of mystery, this is the perfect one to get them involved. Like I said, I would recommend kind of 8 to 12 age range. Floor just sent me a message on Twitter today. She was super excited that we love the book, and she's going to be sending us some signed book plates to go with it as well. And so now to get into some of my other recommendations. Next up, I have Fortune Favors the Dead. Fortune Favors the Dead by Stephen Spotswood. He is a playwright. This is his first novel. The main character is Willow Jean. She is a circus performer in 1940s New York. As the book opens, she saves the life of New York's most well-known female private eye. And that private eye I cannot talk anymore, hires Willow Jean and teaches her all of the ways of being a private eye. The detective is suffering from multiple sclerosis, so she has trouble getting around and wants Willow Jean to kind of be her eyes and ears to get out in the world. It's kind of a really great gender-swapped, Rexed out Archie Goodwin and Nero Wolfe story. Willow Jean is a huge fan of pulp mysteries, so there's a lot of cute jokes in there where she's like, oh, well, if this was a pulp mystery, this is how I would solve this crime. But of course, nothing is ever that simple. It's the start of a series. Brenda read it and really loved it too. I'm really excited to see where the story is going to go. It's the premise, as I've explained, is Willow Jean solving mysteries, but she is looking back on her journeys with this private eye. So I think there's a lot of room for the series to grow as we get to hear different cases from them. So that's Fortune Favors the Dead by Stephen Spotswood. It's just a really good, charming historical. Not too light, not too heavy. Like I said, kind of it kind of has a hard-boiled sensibility to it with some of the tone and the writing, but it's not actually like kind of a grim, hard-boiled story. Next up, complete different end of the spectrum, is Death at High Tide by Hannah Dennison. Some of you guys might remember her. She wrote the Honeychurch Hall series a couple of years ago. She also wrote another really great cozy series. Death at High Tide is the start of a new series for her. I absolutely love her writing style. When I picked this one up, I was just a couple of pages in when I remember just how much I love the way that Hannah writes. So the premise for this one is our main character's husband has just died. She realizes that he has squandered all of their money, and the only thing that he has left her is potentially a hotel that is on kind of this desolate island in Cornwall. So she calls her sister, who is a talent scout for Hollywood movies, to go check out this hotel. The sister pretends that she is actually a talent scout for the new Pirates of the Caribbean movie and keeps telling everybody on this little island, oh yeah, I'm this talent scout. If you tell me all the information I need, I'll make sure that Johnny Depp comes. Of course, they get to the island, there's a murder. It's really great shades of Agatha Christie and Then There Were None, closed cast of characters. It's got great blurbs from Kate Carlisle, Donna Andrews, Paige Shelton, Carolyn Hart, Ellie Alexander, Katrina McPherson. So lots of our favorite authors, if you want just kind of a really good, charming, feel-good read. That's Death at High Tide by Hannah Dennison. Next up, this one's not going to surprise everybody. You guys all know how much we absolutely love Fiona Davis. If you've not read Fiona Davis, kind of her deal is she takes a historic building in New York and creates a fiction around it, but she also really dives into real life details. So her new book that came out in August is The Lines of Fifth Avenue. I'm sure a lot of you guys have picked this up already, but we also know it's one of those books that came out when the store wasn't open yet. So we wanted to make sure that everybody didn't miss this one. We don't have them in stock for me to hold it up and Vanna White it for you, but we also have some really great New York Public Library puzzles that are going to be here like Monday or Tuesday. So if you want a good tie-in with this, you have a book about the New York Public Library, you can have a puzzle that matches it too. We also have signed book plates to go with Fiona's book. The premise for this one is obviously the New York Public Library. There was an apartment in there when they built it for the head librarian and his family to live there. So one of the things that Fiona does is there's always a past and a present storyline. So the past storyline is about the first family that got to live in this librarian's apartment. And the woman wants to be a newspaper reporter. She's trying to balance that with her husband running the library and having a family, and rare books start going missing. The contemporary story, our heroine is also a librarian at the library. She helps deal with a lot of the rare books. And her grandmother, who was the former librarian, never ever talked about her time at the library. So she thinks that she can find this family history out while she is working there. They're putting together an exhibit and rare books start going missing. So she's trying to figure out what has happened to them. She's trying to figure out what happened to her grandmother in a past life. Fiona she always includes these really great details about the buildings in her building. She's done the Barbizon, she's done Grand Central Terminal, she's done the Dakota. Is this number 4?
Yes.
This is number 4. But she always includes these really great details where the buildings themselves become such a character. And so when she was here a couple of years ago to talk about this one, when she said that her next book was going to be the New York Public Library, the entire audience immediately went, ooh.
It's the fifth one.
Oh, it's the fifth.
Girls.
Oh, Chelsea Girls. She also did the Chelsea Hotel, which was her other, which Chelsea Girls just came out in paperback. she's one of my favorites. I absolutely love her New York stories. I think everybody up here has read all of them. So that's Lions of Fifth Avenue. We also have some signed book plates to go with that. And then the last one I'm going to talk about, we also have signed book plates for. This one is perfect for your Jim Butcher fans, Kim Harrison. If you loved urban fantasy 10 years ago when urban fantasy was kind of having its heyday before everybody decided they were going to write urban fantasy and started kind of watering down the genre, this definitely harkens back to kind of those glory days of urban fantasy. It's one of my favorites that I've read in a long time. It is White Trash Warlock by David Slayton. The cover is really awesome. You have kind of an octopus attacking a building. So our main character, Adam Binder, lives in Oklahoma. He is trying to track down mystical artifacts because he thinks that they have some connection to his father's magic. His father disappeared when he was young. He doesn't really know his father, and he's trying to figure out if he can figure out where he's gone. When Adam was younger, he could see the spiritual world around him. Because of that, his brother had him committed at a young age. Now Adam has started to put his life back together. He's living in Oklahoma, and he gets a call from his brother because a spirit is attacking his brother's wife. So now Adam has to figure out, can he forgive his brother for committing him so many years ago, especially now that his brother is trying to use these skills that he committed him for to help him out. One of the things that you don't ever see really a lot in urban fantasy is really good queer representation. So the main character, Adam, is gay. That's not a source of angst for him. It's not the reason why he was committed. It's just a fact of his life. That's not the source for the tension in the family at all. He's just a really great character. You really feel for him as he's trying to figure out if he can forgive his brother, if he can forgive his mother who let his brother commit him years ago. There's a hilarious scene set in Casa Bonita in Colorado. So if you've seen South Park and you're familiar with the Casa Bonita episode, I laughed so hard. There's a lot of really great stuff that will carry throughout the whole series. So David has already finished the second one. I think he's working on the third one now. So the second one should come out next October. We've got book plates to go with it. Can't recommend highly enough. If you've just been, kind of yearning for new urban fantasy, definitely pick up White Trash Warlock by David Slayton. So that is the last of my stack. I also wanted to mention tomorrow is Small Business Saturday. So we will be open our normal hours. We'll be here 10 to 6. We have everything that we've been talking about, except a couple of things that we mentioned, like John Banville's Snow, we're expecting in Monday, so you can pre-order that. The New York Public Library puzzle, we're expecting that in a couple of days, so you can pre-order that as well. We have all of these in stock. Tomorrow, we are also starting our gift card promotion again. So if you buy a $25 gift card, we'll add an extra $5 on it to make it $30. If you buy a $50 gift card, you get an extra $10. And if you buy a $100 gift card, you'll get an extra $20 to bump it up to $120. Starting tomorrow morning, those will all be available to purchase on the website. You can also call us to order gift cards. If you want one that doesn't fit one of those amounts, we're happy to help you out over the phone. If you need it mailed, we can absolutely do that. We can also, we're getting high tech now, we can email gift cards to you. So just let us know who the recipient is. We can get that taken care of. So McKenna and Brenda mentioned we're doing free gift wrapping, so definitely come check that out. We are open, masks are required. We're limiting it to 6 people in the store at a time. So if you do pull up and you see the parking lot's full, maybe tuck your head in and say, hey, are you guys full yet? We'll let you know. You can either come in, or you might say, hey, can you give us a few minutes? And we will have space for you soon. Am I forgetting anything?
No, I think you got it.
This way. So also wanted to say it's been amazing to have everybody in the store again, as McKenna pokes her head around. So thank you everybody who has been coming in to visit us. We understand not everybody is ready to get out in the world. We also appreciate that. We're still doing curbside pickup. We're still doing mail order. We're doing free media mail delivery on orders over $75. I will say as we get closer to the holidays, be kind of aware media mail can take up to 10 days. It is taking 10 days lately. So as we get closer, you might just ask us whether we think you need to send it priority or immediate to make sure you can get stuff in.
I think you got it. I got all the holiday gift ideas.
Awesome.
You got all the rundown.
Yeah, and we'll be doing Murder by the Book Advent's coming up soon. We're doing videos this year, so you'll be able to get to see a virtual video recommends. Definitely check out YouTube for that and all of our virtual event stuff. We've got some great stuff coming up. So thank you everybody for hanging out with us this evening. If you missed any of this, YouTube will archive it. I'll also have the link in tomorrow's email newsletter so you can check it out there as well. So
Yeah.
everybody have a good night. Thanks
Bye,
so much.
happy holidays.